Yeah, thank you very much, Trevor. Indeed, he does today. He's been doing really well, but that game, it was almost a carbon copy in terms of the flow of the game as that first one, but what was different?
Well, we know that we are not doing so well early game, so let's just go for late game. That's our plan right now. And I kind of missped this game, even though I have no jungle, so I can't really pressure, but I should never die to this gank level 3, which was really horrible. I also missped in laning trades, so I think I'm part of the reason why the game fell behind early game this time around.
Still, you guys had that late game insurance, but as we remember, the first game you had the base race and it fell short. This time around, it's a risky move to stay and to try and finish it, but what was the calling like, and what was it like to kind of overcome that pressure that they weren't wrong last time around?
Well, the last call, I think it was the right call. We could have ended, but unlucky, unfortunate, incidents have happened. This time around, it was risky again, but our top laner had a call that healed Flash and Jace, so it was so many chaotic comms, but he was trust me, and he flashed and Jace, and we ended after. So it was really nice of him.
Well, so many of this tournament, or so much of this tournament has been about which team can keep their cool after a loss and which team can rebound. And you guys now have taken a huge step towards that. Is that something you feel personally as well, going into the possible tiebreaker scenarios?
Well, I think it sure benefits us because our mental strength is actually pretty high. We've been through so many defeats already, and through so many close games. So I think we can do good in tiebreaker.
Finally, I just want to put the spotlight on you for a second, Perks, because you said, I don't like how I've played here, but over the tournament so far, you have done an exceptional job. How much does that carry in your confidence, and how much can you impose that on the rest of the team as well?
Well, I have a lot of confidence going into any middle matchup, any champion-wise too. So maybe it gives my team some confidence in draft, or makes it easier for them, but I think my team is doing a really good job late game too, especially Sven. He carries every game late, so we have this going for us.
One final thing, when I talked to Bjergsen after when they won the first time, he said, well, this doesn't decide EU versus NA, the next game will. Now it's 1-1. Is there anything you have to say on the matter?
Well, right now it's 1-1, and I lost to NA a couple of times before, so I can't really judge, but I guess EU is better than NA.
Risky move, Perks, but thank you very much. Congratulations. We'll see you later on. And for now, more on that game. Let's head over to the analyst desk.
Thank you, Shocks. G2 strike back, revenge on TSM for that narrow loss that they received a couple days ago. Crepo, what are you thinking here?
I think Shocks just did him dirty. Perks has spent half a year becoming the non-cocky king, just to focus on the gameplay, let the results speak for themselves. He had a great interview where he was humble, praising his teammates, admitting mistakes. And then right at the very end, Shocks hits him with the EU over NA, and he just can't resist.
And you just know, front page Reddit, that's all that's clicked out. It's just the
Perks
EU NA.
said EU is better than NA.
Now, what's important to note here is that this doesn't necessarily guarantee G2 in just yet. So if the Flash Wolves win in the next game, G2 is in straight away. If the Gigabytes win in the next game, it forces a three-way tie where everyone's at 1-1, and we'll have to play through that. TSM, for all of you fans at home, don't worry. You still have your opportunity at a tiebreaker later in the day. That's the implications of this game. Now let's break it down. Within this, we saw and we heard from Perks just now, G2 wasn't confident in the way they'd been playing early necessarily throughout the tournament, so they were happy to go late. They draft a comp that does exactly that. TSM not able to apply just enough pressure to get it done in time.
Yeah, and it's really about TSM stalling to try to break out that base. And you do have a lot of wave clear options on G2's composition. You got the Caitlyn, you have the Orianna, even the Gragas to an extent. But I just love how much zone control is stacked onto G2's comp. You don't really ever see Nunu, so you kind of forget how to play around him. But his ability to slow everything down, to set the line of scrimmage for that Caitlyn to really go off, was phenomenal this game.
Yeah, it really was. And I think that the early game was played very well from TSM, getting vision control in their opponent's jungles, moving back and forth between lanes, sieging the turrets. But it all kind of broke down at that first Baron, where 2 games in a row now, they've had very poor base timings, and they give up essentially a free Baron. I mean, they're not staggering their bases. This is 3-4 members from TSM, all basing at the same time.
5.
By the way, this is 28 minutes into the game against Caitlyn Nunu. I mean, what are you thinking? And this is, to me, where TSM really broke down.
Yeah, and it's very symptomatic if you're a team playing against an opponent that doesn't want to play League of Legends. This is what happens. You try every move and they're just turtling in their shell, in their jungle. And G2 at this point have not done anything proactive for well over 20 minutes. So TSM, they want to optimize their next play, right? But then obviously sometimes you cut a corner and you realize you lose an Asher there, and it's so hard wrenching to go through that.
And trying to narrow down, where is TSM's late game breaking down? I feel like it's really in their vision control. You can see the lines start to creep up, but it's very delayed. They're not contesting a lot of the jungle creeps. I mean, Azael, we were talking about this backstage. G2 still had so much control over their own jungle when they should have been completely relegated to their base, unable to leave all that. So all these scraps of gold ending up in Sven's pocket that shouldn't be available to him.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things that everyone praises SKT for. As soon as SKT gets an edge and take map control, they foam both sides of the jungle the rest of the game, and that's how the gold leads really balloon. But TSM wasn't really able to do that this game.
Absolutely. The Baron goes over to G2, able to extend the game a little bit. Of course, our Acer replay will be the second Baron picked up by G2 and breaking TSM's base.
Yeah, this is it's a standoff for Equalizer. It's a good Equalizer if G2 get pressured into that area. There's not enough forward pressure. This is also the issue with the compositions. Later in the game, we have Gragas Nunu in the front line. But nobody on TSM's composition really wants to be the front line, so they have to kind of pick that lock by getting all the right moves in succession. The problem is it never really happened there, and then G2 get another Baron.
I mean, it's with any siege comp versus like a hard engage type comp like this or a comp with strong front line, you kind of have to stay ahead or it can all break apart. And as we now the game ended, expect, Perks was talking about it, says he has his flash, knows he can catch Jason despite them actually delaying this out quite a long time. And Svenskeren was almost back up. They get the pick and they get the game.
A couple things here. First, gotta respect again the composure of G2 to operate in losing games and extend to late, as well as the decisiveness in the calls that they made for the Barons. On the flip side, gotta start questioning TSM and their inability to make the calls to go aggressive in some areas. If you know you're gonna get outscaled, I know it's scary sometimes, but at a certain point you gotta pull the trigger, try and break that base, commit to it fully. If you just let them extend the game over and over again, you're doomed to lose.
Yeah, G2 had a couple good stalling mechanics where they were using like Orianna ultis on waves, and they also caught Wild Turtle a few times in those that kind of stopped the snowball. They also had a really good item build adaptation that Azael pointed out in the game with the Bloodthirster.
Yeah, and I thought the Bloodthirster was actually super intelligent from Sven because you already have a ton of attack speed coming in from the Blood Boil. You don't need your second Zeal item as fast, and there's not a lot of armor being built there. So you're actually going to get a ridiculous amount of efficiency out of the Bloodthirster, especially because you have the front line, which means you're going to be able to free fire much more easily.
And into those poke compositions to regain all that health back. And to be fair to TSM, they did have a lot of those dragons, so there was that other win opportunity for them to look towards that Elder Dragon. Just unfortunately, they decided to take that smite against the Nunu and didn't work out for them.
Yeah, again, I'm not the one on the stage, so it's easy for me to sit here and say they should have made plays where they didn't. But again, G2 gets the better of TSM this time around. We have some more explosive games coming your way here in Rio after the break. The LNS's Flash Wolves hit the Summoner's Rift against Gigabyte Marines. Stay tuned.
Good thing I Biofrost his ass afterwards, because you Biofrost. That was a wild turtle, if you know what I mean. Oh my god. I don't know what you mean.
NA versus EU from Rio.
No, Bergson actually go up.
I think he will. He's found it. Bergson finds Perks and secures Mudflat.
Don't worry. Fine. Some.
Biofrost gets bounced under the tower. Stranglethorns will buy a lot of time, and the Equalizer cuts off the retreat path. Miffy and Trigger down. Double kill for Bjergsen.
Turtle's in though.
Pulled into the wall. Wild Turtles get tagged. A lot of damage. Miffy's being burnt down and killed. G2 in a 4v5. Make that a 3v5. Expect is burned alive.
If we put it at the same time, we will win, right? Sure. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, nice.
Kill Gragas, back up. 2 wants the cupcakes. Consume and Smite is available. Needs to be taken down. The Baron is the focus and trick.
Oh my god, how did he
do it? By Expect. Follows immediately after. G2 Esports have killed Team Solomid. They've routed them. They've aced them. G2 Esports. They're taking down the Nexus turret. Stun Team Solomid. And G2 shot at International rejection.